Hi, everybody, and welcome to the High School Football America podcast. And today we have the real pleasure of being joined by the head coach of Shattuck High School in Oklahoma, a tiny town in northwest Oklahoma, Troy Bullard. And welcome to the podcast, Coach. And there's a great reason why you're here, because coming up on Friday night, you have the opportunity to set the national record for consecutive wins for an 8-man high school football program at 91 straight. And we just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of publicity because I think it's an amazing thing. I saw my first 8-man game just last Friday night in Iowa. So before we get into the streak and all that, I'd like you to tell people a little bit about the town itself. I know it's in northwest Oklahoma, but how would you describe this tiny high school football town?
It's a small, rural community. We have about 1,200 people that live here. We average probably about 15 kids a class, so we're relatively small. We're right, in the right where the Panhandle of Oklahoma starts. But Shattuck's a small farming community. Like I said, probably about 1,200 people live here.
Okay, so that's the reason when you have small numbers that you end up with 8-man football. And I guess as I've been, studying up on this, Oklahoma is one of the better states when it comes to the 8-man game. Is that correct?
Yeah, we think so. Traditionally, Oklahoma's been had some pretty good 8-man football teams. Shattuck played 11-man up until 1998, I believe, was our first year to play 8-man. So, Shattuck went through losing some students and kind of shrunk a little bit. Now we've kind of leveled out, and it's been about the same. But we went to 8-man football in 1998.
Okay, and talk a little bit about the difference between the 8-man game and the 11-man game for people that don't know about it, and how it differs as a coach. I mean, do you approach it any differently? But let's talk about the setup first. What's the difference? Where do the three players leave on both sides of the ball?
You lose 2 linemen and 1 running back.
Okay.
Other than that, everything's the same. The center and both guards are ineligible. Other than that, it's 8-man. The game's quicker. Defensively, it's probably harder to defend than 11-man, I would say. A lot of the games are higher scoring, but it's faster paced. I never played 8-man. I played all 11-man,
mm-hmm.
but coaching it, I enjoy it. It's a quick game. And like I said, probably the toughest thing is probably defending people.
Now the field is less wide. A regular high school football field, or all fields, are 53 1/3 yards. So what's the width of an 8-man field?
8-man field's 40 yards wide. Yeah, I forgot about that. And some of them are 80 yards long.
Okay.
Ours isn't, but in some states, I think all of them are 80 yards. Where ours is still 100, and there's most schools in Oklahoma are still 100.
That gives you a lot of territory to cover. So getting back to the part of the question of how you approach it differently, especially coming from the 11-man side of things, do you have to change up your coaching tactics aside from different sets and that? I mean, just the way you prepare for games and such.
No, I don't think so. You just quicker kids, I think, have an advantage. As real big kids. Kids that are probably 6 foot 180 are probably the best kids to have, just because they're can move. I think that's a key to success, having kids that can move a little bit, be quick.
Okay, now let's talk about this streak. I mean, it's just amazing. We all know the big story of De La Salle out in California, and this year one of your students, one of your alums, actually called me and said, "You got to hear about this streak. They play 8-man football, and they're going to break the national record." So that's a lot of pressure at the beginning to get to that point. Friday night, you have the chance to break it. But what's it been like as you get closer and closer, as far as excitement in the town, the pressure of breaking it? Can you put those into words?
Yeah, we didn't talk about it much. I mean, we won our first state championship when we were 14-0. Won the second one was 28. And, we got up to 42 and 56. And, people might have mentioned it, when we were 56, but still 90 games is a long ways off. And, a lot of things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
After last year we won it, we were 82-0. We knew we could do it, had the opportunity to do it, because mathematically it was possible. We still didn't talk about it a bunch, up until last week. Was the first time when we could tie it, when we talked about it. I know the people are proud of the kids. And it's not just this year's team. It's been, the past 6 years. The last time we lost, knock on wood, was in November in 2002. So, a lot of those kids that have been a part of this, not only this year's team, but in years past. But, in the last few weeks we have addressed it. And, I think it'll be kind of a sense of relief, when the game's over. Just, win or lose, something's going to be changed. So,
Sure.
I think that will definitely, be a relief to not only the coaches, the players, everybody.
Get down to the business of winning another state championship is probably what you're thinking more about right now.
Yeah,
Well,
we hope so.
Well, now I also read in one of the newspaper articles that I guess you were talking to some of the school officials there. And are you going to do anything special with this after the game, before the game, any pep rallies this week, or are you just going to let it happen and then think about that afterwards?
We have a community pep rally at 11:45 on Friday, and after the game, if we win, we're going to have a reception. Hopefully, a lot of the former players are back, and we can all have a good time, remembering the good memories that we've had.
Well, that's the best part of that, when you can bring the people back, and that's kind of what we're aiming to do here, which is tell the story of community and whatnot. Let's take a real quick look at, you face Goodwell on Friday. It's a home game, so that makes things great. You get a chance to break the record there. Again, what's maybe the biggest thing you're going to say in the locker room beforehand? Not to give away your pregame speech or anything, but what are you going to say to these kids with facing history like they are?
Well, I'm not going to change anything, what I ever tell them. All we ever ask them as coaches is, we want everything to have every play, and, be there for each other every play. That's all we'll ever ask for is their best effort, doing things right. That's what we've done for, 6 years or 7 years. I'm not, we're not going to change it. There's just, a little more at stake, and I know our kids will be ready because, like I said, I know they've probably had pressure. People, they'll be the class that loses streak and all this. So, maybe opportunity for them to give that a rest, maybe.
Sure, and a couple of questions, and I'll let you go and get ready for this game. But is there any one game that stands out in this streak in your mind, whether it was a game where you thought, wow, we escaped there, or, we played the best we did? Is it easy to do that or very hard to do that in a 90-game streak?
Well, somebody this week told me that the closest game we had was 22-14 in 2003 at Forgan, and I didn't. It's been so long, I couldn't have told you the closest game. But there's been times where we've been behind, people have got ahead of us, and Medford in the semifinals 2 years ago got up on us 6-0 in the first quarter, and we didn't play very good in the first quarter, and at halftime we were up 22-6, and we ended up beating them. I believe it was 52-6. So, there's always been, thoughts and, somebody score on us. But, our kids have always responded, and it's been a good run. Okay,
and personally, and I want to check this out. Ray Blakely, one of your alums who told me about the streak, and he's in Texas right now, had mentioned to me that you yourself have an interesting story in being in the community, that you really believe in small town, and you moved your family there so they could get this experience. Is that an accurate statement that he gave me, or is that something you heard along the way?
Yeah, I graduated from Shattuck. I've lived here all my life. I coached at Arnett for 2 years, which is 15 miles south of here. I like it here. I've had maybe an opportunity to move, but I just my heart's here, and my wife and family like it, so this is my home.
Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time and all that, and look forward to seeing what happens Friday night and telling all our viewers and listeners how things went, and hopefully the streak keeps going, and maybe you can get that overall one of 151 straight. What do you think?
I don't know. We're going to take it one game at a time.
There you go, Coach.
That's quite a feat.
That's Coach speak there. But anyway, thanks a lot, Coach Bullard, and best of luck Friday.
Oh, thank you.